Keep in mind that before people had access to cars, the best way to get around would be to take a train. But as technology began to get more and more advanced throughout time and cars became more popular, taking a train was less common. Other places would also become empty as other more modern terminals would take their place. From neglected subway systems in Europe to a forsaken building in Detroit, here are the creepiest abandoned train stations.
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm your host American Eye, bringing to you another possibly haunted or creepy video.
But first, quick shout out goes to Jay Lid for being the first view, like, and comment on our recent Polluted Beaches video. Be sure to hit the notification bell and maybe you'll have a chance to be first next time. Number 10. Central Railroad Terminal. The Central Railroad Terminal of New Jersey Terminal was a waterfront passenger terminal that was built in 1889 and operated all the way until 1967. It's located right across the Hudson River and is technically a part of the Liberty State Park. From here, visitors can see a great view of the Manhattan skyline, the Ellis Island Abandoned Hospital, and the Statue of Liberty. It's found in Jersey City and is a New Jersey registered historical site. The railroad recalls many historical events, especially with the large amount of Irish immigrants who made their way into the country in the nearby harbor. It's estimated that around 10.5 million people entered the country through this station. The Central Terminal was a pretty large place and consisted of 12 platforms and 20 different tracks. The station also helped with the development of Atlantic City, New Jersey. After another terminal opened in 1967, this terminal seemingly became abandoned overnight. This memorial here stands as a tribute to all the hardworking railroad workers at this location. Number 9. Train Station Cemetery, Uyuni. What might appear at first glance to be a bad case of pollution has actually turned into an obscure tourist destination in the country of Bolivia. Located in the southwestern part of the country, you'll find the Great Train Graveyard, which was left over during a time when salt mining was a big industry here. The region has been known to be strategically located for trade, since highways and railroads for bordering countries tend to meet right here at this spot. Many trains were left abandoned here due to technical difficulties or simply from depleting the resources nearby. There is no shortage of salt in this area, and you can tell pretty much the entire surrounding area is eerie. Number 8. Ken Frank International Station. When it was constructed in 1928, it was the biggest rail station in Europe and the best way to get from Spain to France at that time. It was constructed to be rather glamorous and over the top in the hopes of attracting many wealthy travelers from all around Europe. Situated smack dab in the middle of the Pyrenees Mountains, it was also home to a hotel. It wouldn't be too long until a railway station would end up in the wrong hands and be caught in the middle of the global conflict only a few decades after it was built. The Germans from the east would capture the railway station and would use it to secure plunder. Trains often filled with gold and valuable artwork would pass through this station. Finally, in the 1950s and 60s, it would go back to normal during a time of peace, but the station just wasn't meant to last forever. In the 1970s, a train jumped the rails and crashed here. Even though no one was hurt, the building would go abandoned. There doesn't seem to be a set plan on what will happen to it in the future. Number 7. New Jersey's Deep Train Graveyard. Off of the Jersey Shore, 2 mysterious trains rest in peace deep underwater. What's it doing there or how it got there, archaeologists are still unsure. This is one of the oldest models of train we know about from the 1850s. Some believe that the train was simply pushed off a boat to prevent it from crashing due to a large storm. Now completely covered in rust, this machine was state-of-the-art technology for its time, but amazingly well preserved. Even the smokestacks that make this piece so unique are still visible after a century and a half have passed. The New Jersey Transportation Museum is planning on bringing this back to the surface in order to conduct research. Number 6. The abandoned Corrija Railroad Station. There doesn't appear to be a lot of information about this forgotten railway station located in New South Wales, Australia. But if you come here and expect to go somewhere, you could be waiting for quite some time. It appears to be a museum of some sort and pays tribute to some of Australia's first railroads. The station itself isn't all that fancy, it almost looks like some kind of shack to keep a tractor inside. From videos online, it looks like some old steam engines make their way through here sometimes. The station was built in 1867 and closed sometime in 1978. That's a lot longer than other stations on this list. In April of 1999, the New South Wales government declared this as a state heritage register for possessing some rare historical aspects in the region. Number 5. The Chambery Underground. This operational metro line has been turned into an underground museum and has been closed since 1966. The train station known as Chambery is located in Madrid, Spain, and went abandoned because it could no longer accommodate longer trains, which had become the norm in Europe. It first opened in 1919 of October 17. Travelers in Spain were a little bit reluctant to ride the subways at first, but bright colors, extensive designs, and other things helped bring in more people. As the population continued to grow, in 1960s, the train station was just seemingly too small to handle all the passenger traffic. Other metro stations in the city were beginning to use bigger trains, and they increased the standard length to 90 meters. Train operators found it to be a hassle to slow down every time they passed through here. Eventually, it would open up as a museum in 2008, despite the underground being already graffitied. Number 4. Thurmond, West Virginia. Once a thriving center of coal mining in West Virginia, Thurmond was a prosperous place of commerce and business along the Ohio Railway. It popped up in the 1880s in the center of the state and consisted of popular hotels, casinos, banks, and schools. It was a fairly well-organized city with strict laws on drinking. In 1888, a rail station was built, which allowed for tourism in the area and also to carry out the coal from the hills. The population peaked at 462 people in 1930, but steady downfall would occur not too long after. A popular hotel was burned to the ground, which had startled much of the population, and would finally reach zero in the year 2000. You can see the contrast of the cities built out in the west and out in the east during this time. There's much more technological advancements, and the addition of coal to a city at this period of time will allow for them to heat their homes. Surprisingly, the city hasn't received too many vandals, and much of it is preserved. Number 3. Vance Creek Bridge. Okay, so even though this one isn't technically a rail station, we figured it was creepy and abandoned enough to make this list. Hidden behind countless evergreen trees is a treasure that measures 347 feet above the ground. This was at one point the second tallest trestle bridge in the US. It was used as an important route to transport lumber from Washington's lush forests. Eventually, when the government decided to protect the land nearby and not cut down the trees anymore, the bridge was no longer needed. Legends have told tales of not only the bridge being haunted, but also the creek down below. It's said to be haunted by the spirit of a woman who fell off this creepy-looking bridge. At night, there's also been sightings of a woman floating from the bottom all the way to the top. You can tell from this photo that there's no handrails, and a fall down would certainly be lethal. They have tried to implement trespassing signs in order to deter vandalism and loitering. It's been sealed up, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be easy to get there anymore. But there's good news. If you search Instagram/thatNWBridge, there seems to be some recent photos of people there. On clear days, you can also see Mount Rainier in the background. Number 2. Aldwych Tube Station. You won't be catching any tubes from this station anytime soon. That's because it's abandoned. This closed station is found in the capital city of London, UK, and opened all the way back in 1907 with the name of Strand Station, originally after the name of the street that it's located on. It was the terminus of the Piccadilly line branch from Holborn. The reason why it's called Aldwych Station is because the Strand's junction with Surrey Street is located in Aldwych. Due to its iconic British appearance, it's also been the set for many hit Hollywood movies, including Sherlock, Fast and Furious, V for Vendetta, Superman, and the zombie movie 28 Weeks Later. Since it's been abandoned for quite some time now, it makes a great location for apocalyptic movies. After operating for more than 30 years, only during peak hours, the closure announcement took place in January of 1993. The buildings above it, though, are still sitting on some vital real estate and are occupied by King's College of London. And before we get to our number 1, do you guys think it's a good idea to hide out at a train station during the zombie apocalypse? Let us know the answer in the comments below, and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video. And number 1, Michigan Central Station, Detroit. If you're in Detroit City and you really don't have much to do, you might as well check out some creepy abandoned sites such as this. This historical building opened in 1914 after it replaced a depot in downtown that was burnt to the ground. The station was forced into early service and it became the tallest railroad station in the world at that time of its construction. It displays a Beaux-Arts classical style of architecture and was even designed with the same architects as those who designed the New York City's Grand Central Terminal. The main floor was designed in a similar manner as a Roman bathhouse, and the building above it were office buildings. It seems like working at a train station office would definitely make it easier to get to work on time. The station would continue to run up until 1988 when Amtrak service ended here. Many urban explorers, as well as people looking to loot it, has caused them to build a barbed wire fence around it. Finally, in 2018, the Ford Motor Company purchased the historical building, who plan to turn it into a mixed-use facility. The ruins here before the company purchased the building have been seen as iconic to urban explorers.
So which one did you think was the scariest? Let us know in the comments section, and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video.